Hi, my name is Will Kendrick, and I'm here today to talk about the benefits and efficiency of roundabouts over intersections. Now, in America, when you're driving down the road, you typically see intersections, and an intersection is defined as where cars must cross each other's paths to keep going. Now, in other countries, in Europe and Asia and South America, you'll see roundabouts, which is typically a central circle with spikes coming out of it. And that typically works where you're coming up to it and you have to wait to get into the intersect or into the roundabout, as the people in the circle have the right of way. You basically yield your way in and you just exit wherever you need to go. In America, roundabouts are not that common. They are around, but they're not super close together in frequency. Like there is one at the front of campus, but there's not really that many else in Silva. Now, the way that a roundabout works is you're in the circle and you're driving. Those people have the right of way. When you're coming up to the roundabout, you have to yield and wait to find a gap, get in the roundabout, and then you exit where you need to. Whereas a traditional intersection, you come up, you wait your turn, whether that be at a light, a stop sign, flashing light, whatever, and then you cross paths with another vehicle. In a roundabout, the vehicles never cross paths, they just simply merge and then unmerge themselves. In America, we have roughly 30 to 3,500 roundabouts countrywide. In Europe, for example, let's say France, you have 30,000 roundabouts countrywide. In the UK, you have 25,000. So, relatively speaking, the US has almost no roundabouts. According to a February 2020 article published by the IHS HLDI, they monitored 3 areas where they replaced a stop sign intersection with a roundabout in Kansas, Nevada, and Maryland. They saw a 13 to 23% delay in traffic kind of backup, and then a 14 to 37% decrease of vehicles actually having to stop and then wait their turn to go. Roundabouts and traffic lights serve the same purpose. They get there in a different way. Like, for example, a light, when you stop, you use with a roundabout, when you stop, you use 15 to 45% less emissions when you are going and you go through, because you're not having to stop and wait as long as you are with a traditional intersection. Now I'm going to start to talk about kind of the safety of roundabouts and how they're more beneficial than intersections. With a traditional intersection, you have 32 points of contact where a potential accident, somebody getting hit with a car, or something like that can happen. You have 8 merging, 8 diverging, and 16 cross. And so cross is where, you have to go straight and somebody else has to make a left. Merging is where cars kind of have to come together, like you're going straight and there's a right turn and you kind of have to go like that. Diverging is where it's kind of like across from each other. And due to the way that an intersection is laid out, you have to go through the other path of the other person in order to get to your destination. With a traditional roundabout, there's only 8 points of contact, 4 merging and 4 converging. Now, when you look at those numbers, it's 4 times safer because you're not having to cross paths with anybody. B, there's a quarter of the amount of places for a potential accident. And C, everybody's going in the same direction. So there's never going to be like you accidentally go down the wrong lane or you accidentally go the wrong way. There's no way to do that. According to a 2020 article by the Washington State DOT titled "Roundabout Benefits," where there are roundabouts, where they looked at roundabouts versus intersections, there's a 75% reduction in injury crashes, a 37% reduction in collisions, and a 90% deduction in fatality-related accidents. So where there's an intersection, if there is an accident, it's simply more of like a side swipe and not just a full head-on or a T-bone or something super traumatic. And with roundabouts, you have to maintain a low speed. You can't go flying around the roundabout at 60 miles an hour, whereas traditionally you can with an intersection. There's also no light to beat. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You're going down the road, there's a yellow light, you try and beat the yellow light. Well, if somebody else is making a left and you're trying to beat that light and you hit them at 70 miles an hour, that's going to result in a fatal accident. If you're trying to beat somebody in a roundabout and you hit them at 25, it's just going to mess up their car. There's a 40% of crashes at intersections, of all crashes happen at intersections. 50% of those are serious, 20% are fatal. Roundabouts in America aren't super popular due to the fact that they're just not really around, and also people don't know how to use them. Drivers aren't too accustomed to roundabouts because we only have 1/10 the amount of France. So if you think about the 50 states and the 3,200 roundabouts, there's roughly 60 roundabouts a state, if you just simply break it down on average. And according to a October 31st, 2019 article titled Roundabouts and Mini Roundabouts, published by the Federal Highway Association, roundabouts don't really have a standard shape or size, so a lot of people aren't used to them. They can be a circle, an oval, and they can have multiple points coming out. So an intersection is a standard X, but a roundabout is not a standard size. Roundabouts do the same job as intersections. They get people where they need to go. They can get you going in a different direction. But some people just aren't accustomed to them, and in America, they're not super frequent. So if drivers can become more exposed, then obviously they'll become easier to use. So basically, roundabouts are safer. They're more efficient. They're less space taking upping, whatever word that is. And overall, they're a general more efficient way of traveling, as well as they have a reduced risk of crash.